tankers? Welcome back to another one of my videos. I am Droodles Blitz, and today I'm going to be talking about the WZ-120-1 FT. Now, I woke up this morning, loading up Blitz, not expecting to see any new premium tank hit the store, and I saw this tank. And if you're not aware, this is probably the most overpowered tank at Tier 8, or at least it is in my opinion. And I was like, okay, they must be selling this tank in crates. There's no way they're just going to sell this tank for a flat-out price tag. But looked in the store, $50 US. So I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the tank, whether or not it's worth the pretty expensive $50 price tag, how to run it, where to run it, and the armor profile that it has slapped on the tank. Now, straight off the bat, I'm going to start talking about the statistics. I normally don't do this, but this tank you really need to talk about the statistics on what makes this tank so broken in general. Now, when you first get into the gun, it has 2,908 damage per minute. Now, 2,908, I really can't think of many tanks at Tier 8 that have over 3,000 damage per minute, and this tank does 400 damage for dealing 2,908. That is really, really quick. You can see here, very nice aiming time as well. Aiming time is only 1.72, and with a dispersion of 0.326, that's not that bad either. The dispersion is actually quite good for really the caliber of the gun that it has mounted on it. Now, that's just the gun. When you get into the tank, it has 6 degrees of gun depression, which by any means isn't spectacular, but because it's so low down, that is more than you'd think it does get. Not to mention the tank has a 10-degree aiming arc to the left and to the right, so the aiming arc isn't awful either. I expected it to only be like 5 when it first came out, but it is pretty good. Now, the tank only weighs 36 tons, and that's because it's mounted on a Type 59 hull, which means that it gets a top speed of 50 forwards. Now you can probably start understanding why the tank's a little bit broken. Not only can it go 50 forwards, it goes 20 backwards, which means that you're pretty much able to back up really quickly after you shoot. And this tank's power-to-weight ratio is 17.72, making it one of the best power-to-weight ratios at Tier 8. Now, all of these things combined, it gets a traverse speed of 48.60 on hard terrain, and even on soft terrain, you're still going 28.59. Not to mention the tank has a 44.5% concealment rate, which pretty much means you're about the same concealment as an RHM BWT. So you can outspot mediums even though you're as quick as mediums and you do more damage per minute than mediums. And by the way, this tank has very, very broken armor. As you saw there, that IS-3 Defender just bounced a heat round capable of dealing 270 millimeters of penetration, or even 300 millimeters of penetration if he was running calibrated. Bounces right off of our tank. And you may be asking, well, how good is the armor profile? So let me show you guys that next. Now, Armor Inspector wasn't working completely well for the armor of this tank. He was saying it was a lot weaker than it really is. So I'm going to be showing you guys the armor on Blitz Hanger today, so it's going to look a little bit different. But you can look at the front of this tank, and that upper plate is 232 to 240 millimeters everywhere, and that's when aiming dead straight on at this tank. 230 millimeters thick, that means that you're capable of bouncing every single IS tank when they're using their standard rounds at you. That is ridiculous. Not to mention, if you use the tank's 6 degrees of gun depression that it does get, that upper plate's going up to 306 millimeters thick, making it again that you're going to bounce any IS heat rounds that the tanks have. And this tank is very, very quick, as I did say. So quick, in fact, that I think it can turn quicker on traverse speed than actually any light tank can flank it. And because it's so quick on its traverse speed, you can wiggle it back and forth when there are tanks aiming at you, making that 230 millimeters thick range from about 240 to 220. But if you wiggle it very, very quickly, it makes it a very, very tough tank to shoot at, especially with the troll-spaced armor this tank has. Because, yeah, this tank also has the broken Russian spaced armor on the side. You can see that little purple line on the side of the tank. That's sitting at around 241 millimeters thick when aiming dead at the side of the tank. Now, why it has that overpowered spaced armor, I am not sure. But look at that perfect shell fly right into that IS's tank. You can see the penetration on this thing is ridiculous. It's really the most broken tank at Tier 8, and I've had a lot of people tell me, no, it's not. It doesn't have enough hit points. There's a reason why it doesn't have a lot of hit points, and that's because Wargaming knows that this tank is so overpowered. Here's the secret about the tank. When I say tanks are overpowered, you see players run these things, and they just do awful because they run the tank really aggressive right up in the front line. This is not a front line tank. You're not going to win the battle running this tank super aggressive. You cannot push this tank up against an ISU or anything like the BL-10 that tank has on it because it will literally whip away 60-70% of your hit points in one shot. What you need to do is you need to play sort of like a supporting role. You can fight the mediums easily. I can say that. You definitely can take out mediums very, very easily. I would suggest to push it aggressive against mediums, but you cannot fight heavies in this thing because, as I said, the armor is about 230 thick, which means that any tier 9 or, even like an IS-5 can just load their premium ammunition and go right through the front of your tank. So definitely do not run this tank super aggressive. 1100 hit points does not go very far. It's only about 3 heat rounds from like an IS-5. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But we've already picked up quite a bit of damage, 1600, and this battle is far from being over. There are 2 RGN members on the enemy team, which not alone is pretty tough. Not to mention our team is pretty quickly dying out. But again, look how quick that reload is. Another 395 damage into that AT. We've now picked up 2400 damage. And it's just going to keep going shell after shell after shell. We've got this Panther 2 here. I really wanted to slam a shell on him. But look at the shot there. I don't even know how that one hit, but I will take my lucky stars and be happy when they do strike. Because that was one of the most ridiculous shots I've seen in a while, and the fact that it penetrated that E75 made it even more impressive. Because again, as I said, 260 millimeters of penetration is ridiculous. 8.9 second reload. Again, I don't understand what Wargaming was thinking giving this tank, so many good statistics. I really can't think of one downside to the tank. It's quick, good armor, overpowered gun. The dispersion, even when moving, is really good. Look how small that aiming circle is. And there's an RGN player running his P44 Pantera. It's not going to stand any chance. He was going to rush over this hill and kill that T54. Bam! Slam a shell right into the side of him, and now he is a one-shot, and my T54 finishes him off. And again, now we're able to spot this E75 crossing. Bam! Slam a shell on him, 455, get a max roll on him, and we just turned that 4 versus 3 into a 3 versus 0. 3,700 damage later, we come out with the victory. That was just a really good game on its own. 89,000 credits. I forgot to mention this tank also earns very, very good credits. And by the way, I played this game on my live stream last night. We were doing terrible, just completely awful, and most of you guys that were watching this know that. Pulled this tank out for one game, and this was the game we pulled out, and that's how broken this tank is. Now this final game you guys are going to see here, I literally played about 30 minutes ago. This was the last battle I played before I am recording this video. And this is just a perfect example of how broken the tank is. And I'm sitting around 91 masteries in the tank right now. And I've got about, I think, 400 battles or so in it, which means that I'm pretty much sitting at a 25% mastery ratio. And it used to be 33%. But more and more people own this tank, making it harder and harder to master. But we still manage to squeeze some masteries out every now and then, and I played 4 battles in the tank this morning, and I did manage to master it. So let's see what it takes to master the WZ, and how hard it really is. Now you can see we've already slammed our first shell right into that P43, I think it is. And now we're aiming at this T-34-3, and look at the turret on him. It literally makes a T-34-3's turret almost very easy to penetrate. Now we do still manage to bounce it, but you can see that was with my standard rounds. If I had loaded heat there, we would have had no trouble going through his tank. Slam the shell right in the side of him, even while moving. If you were running a Russian tank or any other IS, your aiming circle would have been the size of Texas. But with this tank, it's tiny, because for some reason it has some of the best on-move dispersion statistics in the game. Now here's an enemy WZ. I do whiff that shot as I didn't even give it a chance to aim in. But this enemy WZ, for some reason, is completely ignoring the tanks behind him, only focusing the light. So we slam one shell into his track wheel, tracking him, and you can see that it is pretty much able to stop that light tank from flanking him. However, he is not able to stop my 120mm shell flying into the side of him. And we've already picked up 1400 damage. And look how quick this thing is, going 50 kilometers per hour, even uphill, still going 48, 46. It's got a very, very good power to weight ratio, as I did say. And this tank is able to turn on a dime. And you're just going to see the damage keep racking up and up. In the original video I made on this tank, I think I did a 5500 damage game on Normandy, and it was just the quickest battle ever. It's just stupid how broken this tank is. Again, we're going to pull out on this T-32. He bounces his shell off of our 230mm upper plate. The only reason I'm backing up is because of that T-34. T-34 shoots. We are literally able to out-reload that T-32 shell, dealing another 400 damage to him, picking up 2200 damage already. And again, we're reloaded already, picking another 396 damage off of that T-34. That's already 1200 damage within 18 seconds, 20 seconds. That's ridiculous. It's just one of the dumbest tanks in the game. Unfortunately, the SU did drive right where that T-34's lower plate was, but it's not going to stop this tank. And there's still another 2000 damage to come out of this game. I'm not even sure how that damage comes out, but you're just going to see how ridiculous this tank is. And when a T-34 shoots, I pretty much know that I can shoot 2 shells into him for every 1 shell he fires. And you're going to see that happen right about now. I put on my fast reloader, making my reload 7.4 seconds. His reload, I think, is around 13 seconds, so it's really just quite stupid how quick the reload is on this tank. Look at this. We're literally able to tap this T-34 2 times when he's only able to tap us once. That shouldn't be a thing. This tank is just way too broken. You're seeing here, I'm able to back up quicker than that T-34 is able to ram us, making it so that I could bounce that Tiger 2 shell. And now we've got this ISU-122-1. We're going to slam a shell right into his back track wheel. Unfortunately, it didn't hit it, but I was trying to. And now we've picked up 4,175 damage. And are we going to get another shell into this Tiger? Come on. Yes, we do. 468. We get a nice high roll. And we've blocked 930 this game, dealing 4,643 damage. Now, that shouldn't be a thing. This game was literally, I think it was a 3-minute and 40-second match. You couldn't pull that much damage out in a normal tank. You would literally have to be the luckiest person in the world to pull out 4,600 damage in any other tank at tier 8 other than like an ISU. And it would still require a lot more effort than you literally saw this game. I literally drove the tank and shot at tanks. I rushed a T-34, and then I shot an ISU, and then I shot a Tiger 2. I didn't do anything special in this battle whatsoever, but I was able to pick up 4,600 damage, pulled out a mastery, 107,000 credits. I'm sitting at a 71% win rate out of 400 games in this tank. That is by far one of my best win rates in the game. And people can say that my win rate in the Object 252 is higher, but it doesn't even compare. This tank is 5 times more overpowered than the Object 252. I've been telling you guys to save your money, wait for a tank that's really broken to buy. This is that tank. If you don't buy this tank, you will never forgive yourself until a Blitz fair comes out, at least if they don't release it. It's just so broken. I would definitely suggest to pick this tank up. $50 is nothing for how broken this tank is. I spent $44 US on it when it first came out, and I never ever regret buying it. It is obviously the most overpowered tank at tier 8, tier for tier. I really can't think of any other tank that would even closely compare to this in a battle. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. As always, make sure to smash that like button if you did. If you didn't, hit me up with a downvote. Let me know why you don't like this tank or anything. And other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next video.